Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. I always love when Sam is here. I also enjoy when he's not here. So we're going to go one-on-one with this next guest, but don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review where you can, whether it's on Twitter or if you're watching on the our YouTube channel, pound the subscribe button. So our next guest is a guy we've been working on for about a year or two. We've had a lot of his colleagues, a lot of his predecessors, whatever you want to call it. And we're excited. We're really excited. And I might actually guarantee, since Dusty May came on the show before last season, how did it work out for him? He won a national championship. So maybe we can bring some luck to Penn State men's basketball coach Mike Rhoades. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So
Big
national
fan,
championship. There you go. National championship.
Hey, if that's what it takes, I'm in. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, college basketball season practice is starting eventually, but I want to talk a little bit about your background. You're a national champion, Division III. Doesn't matter what level is in my eyes.
Yep.
You were the National Player of the Year too. Jeez, and I heard you could shoot the rock, and you still hold some records. Do you still have the short shorts from back then?
You know what? They got a little bit longer right around then because of the Fab Five. But they weren't super short.
Yeah,
I'm not that old, but they were close. They were close.
Yeah.
I don't have them, though. I do not have them. I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, my wife and children thank the Fab Five all the time because my last year of high school, they were prevalent.
Yes.
And we went from the Steve Alsher shorts, who we had on the show last week, to the Chris Webber shorts. But
I always say from the 2-inch inseam to the 9, that quick.
So can you still shoot it?
Yeah. The body hurts a little bit more now. Some old school scar tissue, as I like to call it. But I have a 22-year-old son that plays football and basketball at Susquehanna, and I have a 16-year-old son that's a high school varsity point guard. So I'm in the gym a lot with those guys just as much as my team. And so I still get my shots up. Still my favorite thing to do in next to being next to my family, my favorite thing, I still love to be in the gym with the players, with my sons, with the coaches. So and shooters shoot. So I get my shots up.
Shooters shoot. We've gone from Steve Alford to you and two prolific shooters for sure. I love going into a gym when no one's there. And you just hear, it's just quiet. I think, you obviously hear the ventilation system going and stuff like that. But it brings me back to when I was, would work out at 9:00 at night in the gym, and you just hear the squeaks. And I don't do that anymore because it wouldn't last very long, and it would be pretty embarrassing. So
I still do it. It's still my outlet. Sometimes just to go get the basketball, go shoot for 15, 20 minutes. Your mind's stuffed with different things. That's my outlet. Some people walk, some people meditate. I'll go in the gym and take a couple jumpers. I still do it. I love it. It's my outlet.
Yeah. Were you always destined to be a basketball coach? I mean, your father was a former, Pennsylvania State Senator, James J. Rhoades. Did he have kind of an influence with you in basketball?
Oh, without it. My dad was a high school football coach when I was growing up, when I was little. Then he became a principal and then a state senator in 1980. But my two uncles, Davy Holland and Mickey Holland, on my mom's side, my grandfather played basketball at Villanova back in the late 20s, early 30s. And his two sons, my Uncle Mick and my Uncle Dave, were very good players. Davey played at Holy Cross. Mick played at Albright College, and they both became high school coaches. My Uncle Mick coached at my high school, so I was his ball boy, his manager, and then his starting point guard. So and next to my dad, he's probably the most influential, man in my career, in my life. So I've had a lot of good leaders and teachers and coaches.
Mhm.
So I just love to be in the gym. I fell in love with basketball at a young age. I played all the other sports with all my friends, but everyone saw my love for basketball. So thought I was going to be a teacher and a coach like them, a teacher and a coach. And then I'll be honest with you, I taught fifth grade for about 8 weeks. I came home on a Friday as a long-term sub. My mom, who taught high school English for about 33 years, I think it was, she said, "Hey, they're going to need you down at the high school." I said, "I'm done." She's like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go be a college basketball coach. I want to
Awesome.
think, I want to do everything basketball for the rest of my life." And I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah, yeah, it's obviously gone well for you. I actually have I had a fifth grader last year, he's in sixth, and I have a fifth grader next year, he's going fourth to fifth. So amen to that.
You
Someone
know.
people yeah, people used to ask me, why don't you be a school teacher? I said, well, I don't know if I could last over a week. Now I can coach because at least you can yell. Um, and I guess technically you could throw things, not anymore, but back in the day you could throw things. You
Yeah,
can't do that in the
it's a
classroom.
tough one these days. I'll be honest with you. I love the kids. The kids were great. I had a lot of fun with them. But the bell rang, I think, every 42 minutes. I had a lunch duty. I was in charge of for an hour and 20 minutes. I think I was in charge of that. It was just the same thing over and over again. And I was like, you know what? It's all about basketball to me.
Yeah.
And so I remember calling Coach Flannery, Pat Flannery, who was my college coach, and I said, Coach, how do I get in this full time? My dad used to always say to me, and I share this with everybody, if you could find something that you're passionate about and make it your career, you'll never work a day in your life. And I truly believe that. And I say that to everybody. So I tell my kids that find something you're passionate about, see if you can make it a career, and you'll be a very happy person.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Really good success at Randolph-Macon. Then you went to VCU. Obviously, everybody knows about that Final Four run. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what college basketball is about, and hopefully we can still hold on to that. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about the current college basketball landscape. Then you went to Rice. How the hell did you win at Rice? Because, and no offense to Rice, this is no
Yeah.
disregard to Rice. It's a tough place to win, and I believe you got the second most wins in school history with 23. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll
how?
be honest. I,
Uh,
I, I was bridesmaid for a lot of jobs while my first couple years at VCU, and I absolutely loved my time as working for Shaka and being at VCU as an
well,
assistant
obviously
coach.
you went back, coach. You obviously love
Yeah, I
you.
loved
You
it,
went
but
back. I mean,
I was interviewing, people were coming after me, and I ended up I would interview for jobs, and I was a finalist. I was a finalist. And Joe Carlgard, who was the athletic director at the time at Rice, and Bobby Tudor was the president of board of trustees, a former Rice player. They pursued me. They came after me, and they talked to me about what they would like to see the program be. They wanted me to build a program, and uh, my wife and I looked at each other and said, "Hey, they want us. Let's do it." We had three little kids, but it was an adventure, and we went out there. And I said, the most important thing I told Joe and Bobby was putting the right staff together, because to build a program that hasn't had much success, you all got to be everybody's got to be in the same bunker
yep.
and rowing in the same direction. So we got a great staff and we just worked. And I'll be honest with you, my first year we were 12-20, and it was one of my most enjoyable years I ever had coaching. I had guys maybe not talented enough for Conference USA, but they overachieved. They worked so hard. And I think at one point we were the hottest. Vegas had us as the hottest team in America because we were messing up every spread. And we were just like, we were in every game. We just couldn't pull them all out, but we were in
Yeah.
every game. We were giving people fits. And I was like, you know what, this approach we have is working. We went and got better talent, guys that bought
Mhm.
into it. Our second year, I think we would have been a lot better, but two starters, Chad Lott and Marcus Jackson, both blew out their knees. And then the third year, we got healthy. We got better players. We got
Yeah.
bigger and stronger. And we made a great run. It was fun. I could have stayed there forever. I love those people, but VCU came
Yeah.
calling, and my kids were born in Richmond. It's a special place to be a
Yep.
basketball coach. And we had a blast. We had to build up the program getting there in 17, and then we had to deal with COVID, but we had a lot of fun. We won a bunch of games and a lot of neat people there.
Yeah. How do you replicate, is it hard to replicate what you built at Rice and kind of today's current college basketball landscape now at Penn State? I mean, it's a totally different time. It's a totally different era. I mean, how do you, you haven't had this. I mean, you're obviously building, you're winning some games, but I mean, it's tough. And I mean,
no, and this
top
past
dog,
year was
the
really
Big Ten is really tough. I mean, you just won a national championship.
And this past year, like there's different ways to do it now, and sometimes you have to do it a certain way just because of where you're at. So, this past year we were the cheapest and the youngest team in Power Four. That's a bad combination. So we just we did it with younger guys, and the tough thing is if you don't have success, guys could roll on you, and so now you got to find different ways every year to acquire talent. You hope you hope you're at a position financially that you can get a level of talent for your league. I still love the development part. I still want to take a young guy here and there and develop them, but you could develop for a year and play them a lot, and they could roll on you in a second. So, but to me, it's still about relationships. It's still about building a relationship. So players, they want to be coached hard and held accountable, and you want them to take ownership in what you do. And part of it is, them seeing things happen. At Rice, they wanted that education and they wanted to play Division I basketball, and we built on that. And we had a great year. I think we would have been even better the next year. At VCU, guys stay there because of the winning tradition and what it's done, and it puts people in the NBA, and they do things at a high level. So it just carries over. Here at Penn State, we're a lot like Rice. We have to find the right formula, and now things mess with that formula because kids can leave at any time. You might not be able to pay them as much as others. So but I still believe in you. You sweat with your guys. You build relationships with them, and you put a lot into them. In the end, sometimes you get burnt, but you know what? That's life. And I'm not going to stop the way we do things. I know it works, and I know it's the right way. And but at Penn State here, it's a hard job. It's a really tough job, especially in this climate and in the Big Ten, in a league where we're supposed to play everybody, 20 games. But that's the fun of it. So I come in every day, and our staff comes in every day trying to figure it out, and I like that part of it.
Yeah. Well, to just quickly a comment about VCU. I mean, you've got the charm and good looks of the Martelli boys now, so why wouldn't you want to go to VCU? And they've got nice hair.
Bald is more in now than ever. You know what I mean? And it's working down on Broad Street for sure.
It's funny because we've had a lot of Big Ten coaches on the show, and I don't think the fans understand how difficult it is to win, not alone in the Big Ten, but anywhere, whether it's Division III, Division II, mid majors, whatever it is. I mean, look at
I think that's the most, Luke, that's the most underestimated part of all this, and where I always say people are out of touch, and the reason they're called fans, right? Fanatics, right? Like that's the part, and I educate people all the time about it. Division II, Division III, Division II, Division I, any level, there's good players in every gym. And then sometimes there are older good players in every gym. There's good coaches at every level, at every level. And look, I remember when I was at Randolph-Macon and we played an exhibition game at George Mason, Coach Larinaga. And we beat them. And then they go on to win the league. And we had Division III players, but you know what? We had a kid by the name of Danny Jones and Justin Short. Those guys, they turned into Division I players by their third and fourth year in Division III. So I always say that people don't understand how hard it is. There's talented players, smart basketball players, and then there's really good coaches at all levels. And to win a college basketball game is really, really hard. And for guys that have done it for a long period of time, you have to tip your cap to them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a bad coach and a bad team in the Big Ten, and I can't.
None.
I mean,
And For me, that's been a lot of fun preparing for all these teams in the Big Ten and different coaches and different styles. You learn a lot, but you also, it just creates mad respect for everybody. And it's a lot of fun too, because if you love
Mhm.
competition, you love that
Yep.
part of it as well.
Yep. I love that you're not shying away from it. I mean, you look at this last year, the step that Minnesota took, and they're going to continue with Coach Medved. We've had him on the show
Yeah.
multiple. Ben McCullum, we've had on the show a couple of times. Everybody's like, oh, he's coming from Drake. He's a D2 coach. And you see what they did. I mean,
Yeah, and I've always said it. I mean, I spent 13 years in Division III, played Division III. Some of the hardest games I've ever prepared for in my life up until now has been some of these D3 coaches I went against.
yeah.
Dave Macedo from Virginia Wesleyan, Tom Palumbo was at Guilford.
Mhm.
I mean,
Remember that name?
those
Yeah.
guys, Tony Shaver, who was, at William Mary, but at Hampton City, Bill Leatherman, who spent 40 years at Bridgewater College. You went into their gym
Yeah.
and he might change his offense on you, the way he plays, and it was unreal. And you know what? I always say this in my Division III days. Every time I got on the bus going home, and we won a lot of games, I
Mhm.
learned something, and I wrote in my notebook and took notes because you're going to use it someday, and I'm using them now today in the Big
Yeah.
Ten.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's talk about your team. I like what you did in the offseason. I'm familiar with some of these guys like Jay Rogers from CCSU, Coach Sellers, Byers from Miami, Ohio. I mean, what they did last year is their second leading
Yeah.
scorer. You got the kid from Buffalo, rebounding machine. I think he'll take a really nice next step, 6'11" junior. And then you brought some players back, and you added a whole bunch of freshmen, and you added a kid from Davidson that can shoot the rock and can score. So, tell me a little bit about what the plan and what the goal was this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a lot, we had a tough season. We had a tough, and especially a tough Big Ten season, and
Mhm.
we moved some guys on. We had some guys move on. That's sort of the climate that we're in. And
Yep.
so, as a coaching staff, we sat down and we really evaluated everything about, what we need to do. And, we needed to get Big Ten size. So that was, a huge priority. We wanted to make sure. I thought last year was the worst shooting team I've ever coached. We just didn't make enough shots. I thought we
Yeah.
had a lot of good shots. We didn't make open shots. And,
Mhm.
that's on me. We got to be a better shooting team. I've always felt we were a good shooting team or a good scoring team in different ways. And we didn't do that at a high enough level, especially in the Big Ten. And so that was something we wanted to make sure. I never want to be light in shooting again at Penn State. So
Yeah.
we went after some guys like Brand and Roberts and some other guys. And, Yvonne Jorick, who had a great
Yep.
freshman year for us, who
Yep.
I'm super excited about. He has a chance to be a special player in this league and further. And
Mhm.
so, he's come. It was a priority to make sure we got him back, and he's coming back. And then we hit the European pipeline again. And we got a couple young guys to work on the development part, but I feel we might not have as much depth as some other teams in our league, but I thought we got Big Ten bigger. We're
Mhm.
long and we have
Yep.
length. We got older. I'll never have the youngest team in Power Four in the Big Ten again. I'm not doing it. I
Yeah.
did it last year. We had all these young guys, and we had some moments. But I always say Ace Bailey and Harper. They were first rounders, top five guys, and their team. They were talented. They were good,
Yep.
and they still came in the bottom
Too
of the
young.
league because
Yep. Too
the
young.
league buys bigger, older guys with really good coaches, and so
Mhm.
we had to address that. We had to get more experience, older guys, physical guys, and then we did take a couple younger guys to see if we can develop them in the players down the road. And we're still not done recruiting. That's sort of how it goes. There's still some players out there we're actively recruiting.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I mean, you just look at and I'm not trying to get anything going because you mean it like we've had Coach Wade and we've had him on the show. I mean, you look what he's doing, what Kentucky's doing, some of these SEC programs. I mean, these guys are like 28 years old, married with 3 kids. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next step for Penn State basketball. Just saying.
Yeah, well, we the thing about it is you want to go get good players, and
Yeah.
if you're allowed to go get good players, you're going to go get good players. Now, everyone's going to question this and that. So this stuff's getting questioned now, how old these players are, where they're coming from. I get it, but it used to be the double transfer. It used to be,
Yeah.
somebody coming from JUCO or somebody medical redshirt. So every year everything's getting questioned. Now
Yep.
it's just more I think more now, everything is unleashed, right?
Yep.
Everything is open to do and people are going to do it.
Yep.
So look, I'm looking at every playground all over the country, every gym, air conditioned or not air conditioned, all over the world. If there's players in there and they're capable of coming here to making us a better program and they fit me and they fit Penn State, I'm going to go try to get them. My staff knows
Yeah.
that, people that know us, because hey, we want to try to win. We want to try to get to the NCAA tournament and make a run.
Yep.
And I know to do that, if you get older players in the Big Ten, that's going to give you a better chance. So,
Yeah.
we're open to doing that.
Yeah. You know what I thought of when you were talking is blue chips with Neon Badeau, Butch McRae. I
Yes,
mean, all that
yes.
shit's legal now. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, and if they're eligible and they can play for you, why wouldn't we be open to doing that? So,
Yeah. And you don't have to give anybody a tractor either.
yeah, exactly. I'm not. We're going to give them 3 great squares a day. Heck, they're all getting paid now. Like, and
I know.
whatever it may be, what level, like it's more than we've ever given, which is awesome. I'm because I've been on the other side of. I've seen guys sending their
Yep.
money, their Pell Grant home to help mom and dad.
100%.
So this part I see it, but the floodgates are open. So
Yep.
I think we're going to go anywhere we can all over the world and
Yep.
all over the country to find players, and
Yep.
we're trying to build a program. So I'm
Yep.
not going to be apologetic for that. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're paid to win. That's what you're ultimately judged on, right? It's not APR anymore, or GPA, or how many kids graduate. It's winning.
Yeah, well, that's the bummer. We want to give these guys an unbelievable student athlete experience,
100%.
and I'll never quit on that. That's 1A for me. I want them to come here, and when I give them back after 1 year or 4 years, that they're better people, they're
Yep.
educated men for the real world. They have a degree, or they're darn close to going to get their degree, and it means so much to them that they want to get it.
Yep.
But now there's also this other part, right? They could have a lot of financial success for it,
Yep.
as long as and as long as we balance it all for the right stuff. But some of
Yep.
this stuff we need to throw it out the window and create better guidelines. But you know what? Let these kids take advantage of the situation they're in, and let
100%.
us take advantage of finding a way to get good players and trying to have a good year.
Yep. Yep. So we do a thing called the shot clock. It's fun. It's airy. It's kind of soul searching. Um, if there's a story, have at it. It's a one word answer, have at it. It's just, Sam usually sets it up. So, but I asked the question. So, first question I'm going to ask. All right. Biggest coaching influence.
Mickey Holland,
Okay. Mickey Holland. And he was, as
my
we
high
know,
school
your uncle.
coach,
Yep.
my
Yep.
uncle, who's a high school coach, won about 700 games in Pennsylvania.
Yep. When your players talk about you in 10 years, what would you want them to say about you?
He cared
Nice.
about me.
Okay. I like that. One word to describe the Big Ten in basketball.
Competitive.
Yeah. I didn't see that all last year. I mean, I went to a couple of Ohio State games and geez, they were close. All right. So most underrated kind of Big Ten environment. Which one were you surprised in the last 3 years?
That's a great question. I love going to the barn in Minnesota. We didn't play this year, but we played the year before,
Mhm.
and that was really neat.
Yeah, you like the steps up and steps down?
Well, I wouldn't like it as a player, but I just thought it was really cool, just really
Yeah.
different. But I thought that there was a great crowd. It was a snowy day. Fans came out. Cool, just a cool old school
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't, well, I'm not going to
I
make
don't
a
think they
comment.
talk about that one as much. I thought it was really cool.
No. Did you put up any shots? I'm curious what you think of the sight lines.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it.
You made them all, that's why. All right, toughest Big Ten coach to scheme against or prepare for. Who's the one?
Painter, and I'm going to say Chris Collins at Northwestern.
Wow.
Yeah, there's certain things Chris does and messes things around. You got to be ready. And then, Coach Painter, now he's really good players that run really good stuff, but they have a counter to every counter to every counter.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't, I think Painter doesn't get enough due, and shit, Chris Collins for sure at Northwestern. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
it's a tough school to academically get into. So, all right, best heckle you've ever heard from a fan.
Best heckle. Oh. Well, when I was growing up, I was a senator's son. So, that was brutal. In Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, I can't repeat it on this
Show, yep.
Zoom, but I will tell you just some personal senator son comments without a doubt. And then when I played at Franklin and Marshall College, was our rival. Those fraternity guys there, they said some crazy things. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, the heckling is different now. You just go on a Twitter and they're a keyboard warrior, and they've got a burner account and they're, ripping on you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's disappointing because you love can you imagine Bobby Huggins now on Twitter compared to what he used to say back to fans back in the day?
Yeah. I will say though, the fans at Dayton, when I was at VCU, we played at Dayton, had unbelievable battles. The tunnel was so tight and it was right by the student section.
Yep.
And walking in and out of that, the things that they would say, and they always had some personal. The one guy was yelling my home address to me. That was funny. Yeah, you can find a lot. And he was yelling at. I said, hey, if you need, I said to him, hey, you know where I live. If you want to ever have a beer, come on over. That was on the way out. God. I said that to him. But yeah, that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, the A10 crowds are just, I mean, I was actually at the game 2 years ago when Dayton beat Marquette, and I've been to some Duquesne games. I mean, VCU is next level. I got to get out there, but and then St. Louis and others. I mean, it's the A10 is really underappreciated. Give me your funniest recruiting story that you can share.
Funniest recruiting story that I can share.
I mean, you can share anything. We've heard it all.
Yeah.
Believe me, we've heard it all.
Put me on the spot. I remember I went. It was Danny Jones. Jimmy Martelli and I went and recruited Danny Jones. He was at Herndon High School. He became an All-American for us at Randolph-Macon. We go on a Saturday afternoon. We have lunch with him and his family at a Mexican restaurant. And he commits to us on the spot. We're excited. Jimmy's going another way to recruiting, and I'm going home, and I get food poisoning. And it should only taken me about an hour and 20 minutes to get home. It took me about 4 hours and 20 minutes, maybe 5 hours to get home. And it was the worst ride back to Ashland, Virginia. And I tell to this day, like the things the pain you'd go through to get a really good player. That was one was Danny Jones. The other, I went Briante Weber, recruiting Briante Weber to VCU when I was the assistant. He was at Fork Union, and I would, go down this Fork Union all the time, and the hottest gym in America on Mondays and Wednesday nights. And I remember I was there in khaki pants and a golf shirt, and I sweated right through my khaki pants and all that stuff. And Briante was fooling me and laughing about me, like just the things you do to get a recruit and what you go through, and you put yourself out there all the time. That's the fun of it.
Yeah, you have to, right? You have to. Yeah. All right, last question. Okay, for the shot clock. They're making a Hollywood movie about your life. All right. What would the title be of the movie? Who would play you, and what would be the theme song?
Well, the theme song would be Pearl Jam, anything Pearl Jam. So
nice.
Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam, probably, or Alive. Probably I'd call it Schoolyard. I went to the Schoolyard pretty much every day of my life on the other end of my town with my basketball to the schoolyard. That's where I got beat up. That's where I got pushed. That's where I turned into a player.
Yeah.
A lot of my lessons in life were there at the schoolyard. And then who would play it? Is that the next one?
Yeah. Who would play you?
Oh man, that's I
And
don't
I will
know.
tell you, the most picked actor has been Denzel Washington.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pick that.
No.
Probably Daniel Craig. Somebody said that
Ooh.
one. I look like Daniel Craig with this haircut.
Yeah, I
But I
like
will
it.
say when I was in high school, I was a little skinny guy, and everybody used to call me Farmer Ted or the Geek because I looked like Anthony Michael Hall from 16 Candles. I was a good player, but that's what I looked like. So I don't know what he looks like these days, but that might be the guy.
I just can't. That's hilarious. All right, last question. All right. How excited should fans be for Penn State basketball this upcoming season?
They should be. I hope they're as excited as I am. Because we had a real tough year last year. We had a real
No.
tough Big Ten schedule last year, and we were too young, and we got the heck beat out of us. But when you have great adversity, you can have great lessons and great growth. And
Yeah.
I think our staff did a great job going out and getting the right guys, high character guys, toughness,
Mhm.
Big Ten size and length and shooting. So I'm really excited. We're going to be a whole different team and program. And to me, that's that's the fun part of all this. And nowadays, you can flip a season, flip a program
Yeah.
in this crazy environment, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You're going to stick on with us for one more minute as we upload. But
Sure.
Coach, we really appreciate it. We're really excited
Oh,
for
you
Big
bet.
Ten and Penn State basketball. And guys, check out if you want to explore some more programs. Check out Penn State men's basketball. We appreciate Coach Rhoades for joining us, and we'll be back next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.